Welcome to Parkbench Tutors. For more information, look us up on parkbenchtutors.com, or you can find us on Facebook. In this podcast for AAT Access, we're going to look at batches and codes. So let's start by considering what we mean by a code in accounting. We can use letters, numbers, symbols, or we can use a combination of these, and we use them to represent something else, usually the name of a business, but it can be a department, a product, or a job. So what's the advantage of using codes? Well, they're shorter, which makes them easier for filing purposes. It's easier to find when you look through files, and they can speed up searching using accounting software because it reduces the need to enter the full name of a business. So let's look at coding with letters. We do this by using a part of the name of the business. Here's an example. So how's this coding being done? We can look at the coding for Scuff Flooring PLC, which is SCUFF, for Cool Products, KOOLP, and for Hanif Speedy Motors, Laminating Floors. Okay, have you spotted the code? And can you spot a possible problem here? Well, let's take the third one down, Hanif Speedy Motors. Suppose there were several businesses, all of whom were run by a Hanif. There's a problem there. We can advance our coding a little by linking it to something else. In this example, we've linked it to departments. So we have two departments, clothing and groceries, and if you look, you can see how the coding's been done. You can see that the first two letters in fact have been used for department coding. What about using numerical coding linked to departments? Okay, supposing we have the clothing and the grocery departments coded as CL and GR, and then we start using numbers for our suppliers, 1001, 1002, and so on, right? So we can see we're using a combination of letters and the number here. Now, can you see any potential problems using these codes? Well, if you were asked without looking what 1003 stood for, in other words, who was the supplier, that might be a little difficult to answer immediately. So what we tend to do is also to look at letters perhaps and numbers together. So here's one way of doing it with four Smiths. We label them as 1, 2, 3 and 4. We might, however, want to label them as Smith A, Smith T, Smith H and Smith L. In other words, to use the first name of the customer. That might be slightly better. So which do you prefer, and why? Have you got a reason for preferring it? Okay, here's how it works in real life, if you like. Here's a section from a computer program, and can you see how the coding has been done here for the account HUMB001? And can you think why it's been done in that way? Well, here's a list of the customers, and you can see that the advantage here, of course, is that if you want to do a lookup, you see where it says quick search, then you don't have to type in the whole name. You can only need type in 2 or 3 letters and it should pull up your answers. Here's a slightly different way of doing it. This is automated by the program, where you simply take the first 3, 6, 8 letters of the account. Again, it makes for an easy lookup. So if you have a supplier payment to make, you can see there's a bank account reference, and you can see there's a payee reference there. So for the payee, you look at who the suppliers are, so you can then determine which of your payees to select, and you put it all together, and you can see that what is happening is that the suppliers window is coming up in front of the screen, so you can select your supplier and it will put that straight away into the payee section. So codes are being used here to speed up a process. Let's just finish with something else on coding. That is how often coding is used in everyday lives, so that driving licenses, for example, are coded. So a driving license which ends in XXXXX will have something in front of it. So what precedes it is in fact a code. And if you've looked at your own driving license, you've probably worked out what this is. So you should be able, in fact, then to work out what the code will be for Lim Nang. And that's what you should have got. You should have been able to figure out the code, how the name was used, and how the date of birth was used. Finally, batch control. If we collect documents of particular type, all the invoices we sent out or all the invoices that we've received, we can enter these to daybooks at regular intervals, in other words once a week or whatever. So with accounting software there's no real need to do this for sales, because the invoices are generated and posted as the invoices are actually produced and sent to customers. However, it can still be useful for entering purchase invoices and credit notes that are received, which if you can do those once a week. Of course, it may well be that the number received is such that you have to do it daily. It depends on the size of the business. Batch processing, though, has other uses, and sometimes a business will use batch processing for a particular reason. Solicitors are an example. So they do work on several clients, and at the end of each week then they may have worked out how many hours they spent on each job, and they will be passed to the accounts department, and then the invoices will be sent out to clients as required. A construction company might well use this idea. Think of, in fact, carrying out several different jobs for different people all at once, and how they might use this for materials and for the labour on the site. That ends this session, brought to you by Parkbench Tutors, narrated by David Hopcroft. Thank you for watching and for listening, and we wish you success in your studies.